How you doing, warriors? Just when I was about to go to sleep, Papa Wright hit us with a brand new update for the game, and it looks really good. So today, we're just going to go over them, and I will give you what I think about them. So there are some updates on the bug fixes of the game. There are small map updates, quality of life adjustments, but mainly hero adjustments, which are much needed. Raze got somewhat nerfed, and Sage got adjusted, should I say. But before I start, I would like to mention that there is a link in the description to the patch notes should you choose to look at it for yourself. But with that said, let's get started. First of all, melee attacks now do double the damage to destructibles, including Sage's barriers and Heaven's metal double doors. So the metal double doors that you can destroy, and then you can shoot through the wooden double doors inside the map of Heaven. This is much needed, and as they explain, they say there weren't enough options during the low economy rounds, such as the first round or right after switching sides, like to combat Sage's barrier ward. Our intent is to add a high risk, high reward method for players to interact with her wall while still being able to take it down no matter their loadout. I find this is actually really good. It adds sort of a risk to it to go up to her barrier and start breaking it, but it should be a lot better during especially economy rounds where you only have a pistol. You want to take that wall down fast before the enemy team rotates. So this was much needed. Very well done. So now to get to the characters. Raze got a pretty big nerf, I would say. Reduced the paint shells from 2 to 1. So now you have 1 grenade instead of 2, which is a lot better. The grenades were pretty powerful, especially with 2. And so now paint shells have a kill reset, requiring a player to kill 2 players to refresh the cooldown. So once you kill 2 players, then you also get your grenade back. So let's say you throw the grenade, you get a kill, and then you get another kill, you get your grenade back. Tuned and adjusted audio for paint shells, blast pack, and showstopper so that they'll be easier to hear in hectic scenarios. I find this is actually really great because I remember attacking A site during Heaven, and Sage would use her abilities and I would barely know where she used it from or where it is at. So this was much needed. The sound in this game still needs work. It is very confusing, but all sound designs and all sound adjustments, I find it is amazing. So keep it up, right? So the next one is fixed an edge where the secondary cluster of paint shells would explode quicker than intended. They'll now have a minimum duration before exploding. I am not a Sage main, I have not experienced this, so if you are a Sage main and you've noticed that your clusters do explode faster than possible, I guess this is somewhat of a nerf for you. So why did they decide to do such thing? So let's review what they said. They said, Raze's goal is to be highly threatening duelist that punishes enemies posted in predictable positions, but we felt like the cluster grenades and their numbers were creating overly oppressive scenarios. Also, players should be supplied proper gameplay information on all the audio cues on all of Raze's abilities didn't match their threat, so we changed the audio of each. I don't know if I'm saying this right, but basically they mean if you're attacking a site, you should be knowing what Raze is doing. You should hear that grenade before it pops off right in front of you, which is a great addition again to the game. Again, the audio in this game needs some work. But for example, when the showstopper is equipped or fired from a distance, players should be able to clearly identify and interpret the threat. I didn't have problems with the showstopper actually, but again, more power to the audios. But again, Raze players will not be happy about this. I consider this to be a huge nerf for her. But I guess we will wait and see how it goes. Maybe they'll bump it back up if people are too unhappy or if people stop playing Raze entirely. Next up, we have Sage. Slow Orb now also slows the airspeed of players in the zone. This means, I think, B-hoppers. So if you are jumping through it, it somewhat slows you while in air. They have a comment section down below where we'll just read it in a second, but let's just carry on to the next point. Players can now walk through the slow orb without making noise. So if you shift walk now, you won't make any noise. Wow, this was much needed, because Sage will now be somewhat paranoid when she throws that. It won't be like a full out safe slowing orb. So a great addition. So this is what they have to explain to it. Players were able to circumvent too much of Sage's slow orb by bunny hopping through the zone. We want the minimum slow amount to be a bit more consistent with all movement in the zone, while still allowing for bunny hopping and walking to provide a slight benefit to traversing the zone. Also, we feel adding a stealthy yet slow way to move through the field brings more nuance to playing against the zone and a bit more uncertainty for Sage, since she can't necessarily hear people move through it. This is amazing. I am so happy about this change, because the slow orb was something that was really annoying. I feel like, again, shift walking through it should have been silent, and they finally made it, and so a great addition. Next to map updates. Several exploits fixed on Bind, Heaven, and Split. These I do not know specifically what they were, but maybe they were the jump boosts that were somewhat possible. So it's a great addition. If it's an exploit, it should be out of the game. Split. They moved the orb from B mid to B main. And this is what they say. The intent is to alleviate some pressure from mid and provide more incentives for players to control B main. I love that they have small little things in the game like that, like the orb, and they can basically change the meta of where people are focusing a lot more, or at least a professional meta on it. So if they deem it fit, I'm all for it. Next on to quality of life. Reduce the outbound network traffic from client to players running at high frames per second. Some ISPs and network setups were throttling game traffic, impacting gameplay by causing large spikes in network latency as FPS increased. No impact on gameplay or / responsiveness. I think this was the top right indicator that we all used to get, showing that we were lagging or we were losing packets. Again, this is good for people that I guess that have high-end systems. They will not have any ping spikes during the network. So great. Next on to bug fixes. Fixed a rare server crash caused by packets occasionally being corrupted by some players' networks. I haven't ran into this, but that's amazing. Cypher's spy cam can no longer use weapons. This was the one that really shook me. I didn't know about this exploit, but thinking about it right now, that sounds hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. And last but not least, they fixed a bug where footstep audible range would sometimes not appear on the minimap. Again, I have no idea about this, but if you ran into it, you are set. And that is the end of the patch notes. I honestly am happy about this patch note. I think they did a fantastic job. Sage and Raze needed to be adjusted, and they have. And the melee damage does a good sort of addition to the economy. In general, a very well-rounded update for a closed beta. You guys gotta remember, this is a closed beta, and they're putting updates in a closed beta. This just shows Riot's communication and Riot's ability to adapt to the scenario. And so some people may be sort of saying, hey, the closed beta is too long. But at the same time, this wouldn't really be a closed beta. The reason why they're calling it a closed beta is because they don't want bad reputation on the game in case there were, let's say, cheaters or bad exploits. So again, this is amazing. I am all for this. What do you guys think about this update? Do you feel like it's good? Do you feel like Sage got what she deserved, I guess? Or Raze got what she deserved? In general, I'm happy with it. Be sure to let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below. If you like this video, please drop a like, as it helps out a lot. Special thanks goes out to the channel members as always. Thank you to Lucian Cross, Toxic TV, AI, Roy Arbor, and Dante P. You guys are amazing, and you guys are the reason why I can afford to put so much time into these videos. Again, thank you guys for watching the video, and I will see you guys in the next one.